Today in Cosmic Kingdom, we are going to talk about the most complicated puzzle in the universe. This is Monterey. Welcome to my Cosmic Kingdom. Since the medieval times, alchemists have been looking for these tiny things that are called elements and are supposed to be just the bricks, the foundations of reality. Later on, in 19th and 20th century, we discovered that these elements were basically atoms. But before that, it was not clear why certain substances were made of small elements, whereas others were just one. For instance, if you have a brick of gold, it's going to be made basically of gold. If you just cut it in smallest pieces, the basic things that you're going to find is going to be gold. But there are some compound things that are made of different elements or atoms, like metals, like steel is made of iron and carbon and things like that. And this was something that puzzled scientists along the way, because certain elements seem to interact with others in a similar way, although their masses were totally different. So why elements like silicon and germanium behave similarly and they have such much different masses? And for example, carbon and nitrogen have a very similar atomic mass, and they are totally chemically different. This was really puzzling, and they didn't understand why, because the first guess is like, well, they have the same mass, they should behave the same, but it wasn't like that. And this brings me to the 19th century, where this Russian guy Mendeleev found a way of organizing all these elements in a way that all their chemical properties were related in the position of this table. And yes, you have guessed it right, it's the periodic table. Mendeleev discovered that if he arranged elements in this way, these are called groups and these are called periods, elements on the same column will have the same chemical properties. For instance, nitrogen and phosphorus will behave in the same way with other elements, but nitrogen and oxygen will be very differently chemically wise. And this was really smart because there was no quantum mechanics yet. And then in the 20th century, in the early years, when they started to develop Schrödinger equation to understand the structure of the atom, all this structure that was discovered empirically by experiments made sense. The hydrogen is the simplest atom, so that's why we place it here in the top left corner of the atomic of the periodic table. The next one is the helium, and it has 2 electrons, and its last layer, or only layer, totally fully covered with electrons. As we move from left to right on the periodic table, what we are doing is filling that electronic structure till we reach the right end of the noble gases, and that right end means that the outmost layer is totally full with electrons. And what is happening here is that elements on the same column have the outer skin, the outmost layer of electrons is similar. So for instance, carbon has 4 electrons in its outmost layer, and in the same way as silicon. And they have found a way that since the medieval time, where the alchemists have these weird signs for a few sets of elements, they found a way of arranging all these elements that is totally compatible with quantum theory. So this is all for today. Thank you for watching me. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel or my social networks, and see you next week, guys. Bye bye. why certain substance why